Wow, it's been 3 decades since I mispronounced the name of the Pacific clam gooey duck. I called it a geoduck when visiting the Japanese supermarket Wajimaya, where I encountered them for the first time. 30 years later, I'm at a garage sale literally across the street from the Doomed Planet podcast world headquarters, and I come upon this Gooey Duck doll. It's this 18-inch tall doll made of corduroy. It has a duck bill, googly eyes, and frizzy orange Donald Trump hair. And the amazing thing is that the shell is a real Gooey Duck shell. And it comes with the original tag, 2 tags in fact. One says Made in USA by Wilkinson Manufacturing Incorporated. I couldn't find any indication that they used to make stuffed toys. They're a defense contractor now, established in 1978. Okay, they make machined parts. On the other yellowed original tag, it says, "This cuddly, lovable, absurd creature has been inspired by the Pacific Northwest's own giant clam. The gooey duck, pronounced gooey-duck, lovingly made in the Northwest by people who really dig ducks. Dig a duck a day." And that's made by the Gooey Duck Company, Bainbridge Island, Washington. There's even a phone number on there, the Gooey Duck Lady. The toy is dated 1981. I think earlier, the inspiration for the toy was released, the Gooey Duck Song, which was a regional novelty hit. So yeah, I only pronounced Gooey Duck wrong once. Geoduck, it's one of those quaint regional pronunciations that they use to trick outsiders, kind of like, Houston Street in the East Village in New York. Well, you called it Houston Street? Oh, you rube. The lady that sold me this clam doll claims that her deceased husband was the co-writer of the Gooey Duck Song. And I want to point out that the Gooey Duck Song is spelled gooey as in ooey gooey dash duck.
Dig a duck, dig a duck, dig a gooey duck, dig a duck, dig a gooey duck, dig a duck a day. Dig a duck, dig a duck, dig a gooey duck, dig a duck, dig a gooey duck, dig a duck a day.
This song became a ritual at summer camps for kids. Lots of different versions of the Gooey Duck Song available online. We were playing snippets of them without bothering to credit the musicians covering the song. We'll play the original at the end of the podcast.
You can hear the diggers say as they're heading to the bay, "Yo, I gotta dig a duck a day, 'cause I get a buck a duck when I dig a duck a day. Gotta dig a duck a day. Dig a duck, dig a gooey duck, dig a duck, dig a gooey duck, dig a duck a day. Dig a duck, dig a gooey duck, dig a duck, dig a gooey duck, dig a duck a day."
The Diggers lyric in this song, I can't help thinking about Flavor Flav of Public Enemy singing about N-word, be good digger. Sorry, that just comes to me. There's something weirdly white and racist about the Gooey Duck Song.
Well, it takes a lot of luck and a certain kind of pluck for to dig around the muck just to get a gooey duck. He hasn't got a front, he hasn't got a back, he doesn't know Donald and he doesn't go quack.
It's a play on words here with this song. A clam is not a duck, and so that's why the toy is so interesting. It's a corduroy clam with a duck face on the end of its spout, I guess you could call it. There's a rare 45 RPM record from the Acme Music and Storm Door Company, the Gooey Duck Song by Konzak and Effendahl. The lady I met claimed to be Effendahl's widow. And the music is licensed by Purium Plezak, I think is a combination of names of 3 of the members of the band. Manufactured in Canada, very rare. Believe it or not, the Gooey Duck Song caught on in Japan, released later by Crescendo Records. And there's online, you can see different cover art for the album. It's a old Japanese man, Mount Fuji in the background, and like a Shiba Inu dog. And sure enough, a giant gooey duck with the face of a duck, face of like a Daisy Duck with a tongue hanging out. So that's pretty weird.
Gooey Duck.
GNP Crescendo Records. Started in 1962. Okay. Did jazz, specialized in soundtracks from science fiction films and television series. This is a rare album, folks. The gooey duck, the binomial nomenclature is Panopia generosa. The average lifespan of this animal is 150 years. It's named after the common name from the Nisqually Lutchud Seed tribe, geoduck. I'm pronouncing that wrong, of course. Their siphons, like the penile part of the clam, can be 3 feet long. They're difficult to catch because you have to dig very deep to get them. One of the longest living animals on the planet. Longest measured is 179 years old. You can age them kind of with the tree ring process. Every year they're alive, there will be a little ridge on their shell. The name, the first element of the Indian name is unknown, but the ek at the end means genitals, referring to the shape of the clam, which sort of looks like a giant wiener from a horror film, or a science fiction film, not a real human wiener. And the phrase might mean dig deep, or perhaps it's a double entendre, also known as mud duck king clam, or in China, an elephant trunk clam. Oddly, this is from Wikipedia real quick. Up until 2010, the scientific name of the clam was confused with that of an extinct clam, Panopia abrupta. And no, people, it's a Panopia generosa. So, gosh, enough with the dick jokes here. This is a serious podcast. Obituaries for the damned. That's our tagline. But we're not going to kill any gooey ducks today. We'll have obituaries at the end of the show, like we have started to do. Gooey Ducks Are for Lovers, A Second Chance Romance by Daisy Prescott. That's a book on Amazon that you should avoid, about an unexpected guest in a woman's life, Gil Morrow, the one who got away. I remember him as a grunge rocker, but it turns out he's even more handsome now as a history professor. I'm reminded of an recent episode of ours, The Sordid World of Billionaire Romance Fiction. And of course, all garbage like this, including probably the Gooey Duck Song itself, can now be written by AI. So a large percentage of people that produce schlock are going to be put out of business by artificial intelligence. Before we get too confused here, there is a different Gooey Duck Song. It's a song associated with the Evergreen State College called the Gooey Duck Fight Song, written in 1971 by Malcolm Stilson. Go Gooey Ducks, go, through the mud and the sand, let's go. Siphon high, squirt it out. Swivel all about, let it all hang out. Go Gooey Ducks, go, stretch your necks when the tide is low. Siphon high, squirt it out, let it all hang out.
Some of us, myself for sure, and I don't know who else, became aware of an animal that's endemic to the area, the gooey duck, which is an overgrown clam. And the motto and the gooey duck seem to fit each other quite well, because this is an animal that most clams, as most of you are aware, can pull it all back in the shell, and they just sit there in a compact little bundle. But the gooey duck's just overdone himself, and he can't get it all back in. He's got to let it hang out.
Yeah, so the Evergreen State College mascot is Speedy. And with a green shell and green gloves and the face of a frog, he looks less like a real Gooey Duck than my Gooey Duck Song commemorative doll. Okay, enough about the Evergreen College fight song. Let's go back to the original Gooey Duck Song. One of the writers was Ron Konzak, a Bainbridge Island original, according to the Bainbridge Public Library. He also published The Book of Ramen, low-cost recipes using instant ramen noodles. Of course, low-cost is one word. I'm really a stickler for bad English. He was in a 70s rock band. He was a woodworker and harp maker. He set up a Japanese-style bed and breakfast. And if you go to konzak.com or to the Who Is for that, you'll see that his wife still owns that domain name. Of course, it's an empty website. Hello, world. Welcome to WordPress. This is your first post. So konzak.com being underutilized, people. Go buy it.
Dig a duck, dig a duck, dig a gooey duck, dig a duck. Dig a gooey duck, dig a duck a day.
Oh, look, gooey duck employment on Craigslist. Shellfish farm contractors needed in Olympia. We work around tides that vary from 5 to 7 hours per day. About 45 hours per low tide cycle. We pay $23 to $25 per hour. Depending on experiences. You could choose how many days to work for each low tide cycle, but pay will be different. For gooey duck harvesters, we pay contractor rate of $1.25 per pound for harvested gooey ducks. Usually, a 3-person team with 1 night of training can easily get 400 pounds, which equals $33 per hour for each person. I'm not great at math, but the average weight of a gooey duck is 3 pounds, and they're incredibly difficult to extricate. Even if you're using, I know with razor clams, they just take a big old piece of PVC pipe and jam it down into the sand around the clam. I'm not sure that's how you get gooey ducks. It's not easy. It's back-breaking work in the middle of the night at low tide. And I checked out who placed this ad, and it's Hui Zia, a guy who lives on Libby Road in Olympia. If you go to Google Maps, it's not a shellfish farm. It's a beautiful $1 million house on the waterfront. There have been numerous cases of people illegally poaching gooey ducks, which are very valuable if you get them across the Pacific to Japan and China. Not accusing this guy of doing that.
Okay.
And as they grow, they dig deeper.
And then as they dig deeper, this elongated siphon thing.
There's lots of gooey duck abuse and grotesque gooey duck video on the internet. There's one where a lady takes a live gooey duck and bites off its snout and then liquid gushes out. And of course, there's reaction videos to that where people are like, oh, it's the grossest thing I've ever seen. And really, killing and eating an animal is one thing, but desecrating its corpse is another. And then on video, one link to the Gooey Duck Song. Quarter million views. I thought this was just a nonsense song until I saw a segment on Dirty Jobs about this actual animal. They're some of the largest clams in the world. Strange looking. That brings us to Mike Rowe abusing the corpse of a gooey duck on his show Dirty Jobs. And, of course, Mike Rowe is either a man of the people or a classically trained opera singer with a degree from Harvard. I guess we'll never know, but he's funded by the Koch brothers, and it's not a secret. On MikeRowe.com, he tries to defend himself. People line up why they can no longer be my friend or watch my shows or support my foundation. From Glenn Beck to Bill Maher, my proximity over the years to the wrong guy has promoted hundreds of Facebook friends to scoop up their marbles and stomp off in a huff. So he claims, I always thought just because I'm influenced by what I read in the press, like most of you, my opinion of public figures is influenced by that. What I read about the Koch brothers leaves little doubt that they ride with the four horsemen of the apocalypse. Okay, you're getting something right there. But then he forced himself to read beyond the headlines. It's great coming from the media manipulator sponsored by climate-killing billionaires. He came to learn that our foundations are aligned on a number of issues. Over the last few years, the Charles Koch Foundation has supported Mike Rowe works in a meaningful way. We've made a positive impact on hundreds of people. I'm proud of that and grateful for their support. He learned, for instance, of Charles Koch's passion for criminal justice reform, okay? He's frustrated by the fact punishments no longer... Okay, so that's like supposedly a left-wing thing. Of course, at the Koch newsroom, Koch partners with the Mike Rowe Works Foundation to launch a work ethic certification nationwide. Again, if you haven't seen this trash TV show, Mike Rowe, man of the people, goes and spends like one day with someone doing a hard job. Of course, he's an incredibly highly paid TV star doing that. But no, he gets into there. It's the nitty gritty. He's really doing it with these guys. Unreal. I guess the Mike Rowe Works Foundation, they want to promote a work ethic. The working is fine and working hard is fine, but kind of the Protestant work ethic is a fallacy. You could be working your ass off in the steel mill, and the guy that owns the steel mill, he may work hard, but he's taking a 3-hour, 3-martini lunch, driving around in a limo and playing a lot of golf, and you're not, and he's got money in the bank and you don't. Mike Rowe's disturbing. He's a shill. I think no one trusts the media anymore. I think that goes for reality TV or whatever his shit is. Citations Needed with Nima Shirazi and Adam Johnson, one of my favorite podcasts. Episode 64, check out Citations Needed. Mike Rowe's Koch-backed working man affectation.
Podcast shout out.
Yes, the Citations Needed podcast, speaking truth to Mike Rowe's power. In recent years, television personality Mike Rowe has amassed a wildly popular following due to alleged working-class straight talk about topics ranging from the affordability of college to reasserting a culture of pride in craftsmanship and labor. From his 5 million Facebook followers to his cable programs, his everyman shtick, on its surface, can be very appealing. After all, who doesn't love a hard day's work and loathe detached ivory tower eggheads? But hiding under his superficially appealing blue-collar facade is a dangerous ideology, one funded by the Koch brothers and other far-right anti-labor corporate interests, and specifically tailored to pick off a certain constituency of Home Depot Democrats while pushing political impotence, anti-union narratives, and anti-intellectualism. Through a clever combination of working-class affectation and folksy charm, often exploiting real fears about a decline in industrialization, Rowe has cultivated an image that claims to be pro-worker, but primarily exists to line the pockets of the worker's boss.
This is a gooey duck. A gooey duck is basically a clam. They grow in the sand. Today we're going to dig a few of them up and eat them. That dirty enough for you?
Dig a duck, dig a duck, dig a gooey duck, dig a duck, dig a gooey duck, dig a duck a day.
Okay, well, that would be Doomed Planet, episode 94, The Gooey Duck Song, an ode to America's giant phallic clam. But wait, there's more. Because this podcast is supposed to be obituaries for the damned. And now I'm really going to try hard to have obituaries at the end of every episode. Luckily, some bad people died. So let's get on with eulogizing them. Italian media mogul and politician Silvio Berlusconi died. And of course, I asked Chat GPT to write a 120-word report on Berlusconi's Bunga Bunga girls. Berlusconi's Bunga Bunga girls refer to the women who allegedly participated in the parties and gatherings hosted by former Italian Prime Minister Silvio Berlusconi. The term Bunga Bunga gained notoriety in the media, describing the lavish and scandalous nature of these events. Reports suggest that Berlusconi surrounded himself with young women, some of whom were aspiring actresses or models. The allegations surrounding these gatherings include claims of sexual misconduct, prostitution, and abuse of power. The controversy surrounding the Bunga Bunga girls contributed to a tarnished public image for Berlusconi and led to legal proceedings against him. However, it is important to note that Berlusconi has consistently denied any wrongdoing related to these allegations. Didn't Flavor Flav write a song about Berlusconi? Okay, a personal note here. The Doom Planet podcast studios, it's really just a guy in his wife's basement, and his teenage son is doing stuff and painting, and so there could be some ambient noise. I think I'm just going to give up on, I think that's okay as long as there aren't any loud bangs or anything. I think I'm a stickler for audio quality with my $100, studio microphone. I think I'm at peace with that now, and I'm going to be recording more podcasts. Right now we got people coming back and forth, and the dryer is going. I can see it on the UV meter, but it's fine. Doomed Planet. Obituaries for the damned. One person who is cooking right now in a hot area would be James Watt. He was Secretary of the Interior for Ronald Reagan. His mission was to basically, cartoonishly, Paul Verhoevenly privatize national parks for oil drilling, long before Sarah Palin and John McCain had their drill, baby, drill, motto. James Watt was busy, and he's an asshole that everyone hated, even other Republicans. Of course, they weren't quite as radicalized back then. Well, I just asked Chat GPT, write 100-word satire of former Interior Secretary James Watt suffering the effects of climate change while in hell. Then ChatGPT says, in the depths of hell, former Interior Secretary James Watt found himself face to face with the very consequences of his denial. Sweltering in unbearable heat, he begged for relief. His expensive suits drenched in sweat. Flames licked at his feet as rising sea levels threatened to engulf him. Oh, the irony. Watt, who once dismissed climate change as a mere myth, now suffered its relentless wrath. He longed for the air conditioning he once scorned. But in hell, there are no carbon offsets or lobbyist friends to save you. The heat served as a fiery reminder that Mother Nature always has the last laugh. Henry Kissinger, still alive. You know what I would like to see, and this may sound sick in a way, I'd like to see him taken out like Whitey Bulger was taken out. It's cruel, and Whitey Bulger only murdered a handful of people. Kissinger, the death toll is much higher. And what other asshole did die recently? The Unabomber. So I asked Chat GPT to write a humorous song about the Unabomber. In his little shack, all alone, Ted Kaczynski with a mind of his own, crafting bombs with meticulous precision, causing chaos. It was his deranged mission. His manifesto full of rants and fears, unleashing madness for over 17 years, targeting universities and airlines too. No one knew what he would do. Oh, the Unabomber, what a guy. Living in a cabin, oh, so shy. Sending bombs through the mail, oh my. Unabomber, why, oh, why? Finally caught in 96, water relief, FBI put an end to his grief. Now he's in his life in the prison cell. Unabomber Tenaba. Dear Lord, this episode has been garbage. I've been replaced by artificial intelligence. The funniest and most clever parts of this episode were created by a computer that just scraped the entire internet and then came up with something. And so I'll never get a job. Never had a real job, but still, things do not look good for schlockmeisters like your host of the Doomed Planet, Obituaries for the Damned podcast, Alex. Glad you could be here. Goodbye.
Now in the northwest, there's a giant clam called a gooey duck. He's a tricky critter, and you really gotta stick your neck out to get him. You can hear the digger say, as I headed for the bay, oh, I gotta dig a duck a day, 'cause I get a buck a duck if I dig a duck a day, so I gotta get a duck, gotta dig a duck a day. Dig a duck, dig a duck, dig a gooey duck, dig a duck, dig a gooey duck, dig a duck a day. Dig a duck, dig a duck, dig a gooey duck, dig a duck, dig a gooey duck, dig a duck a day. Oh, it takes a lot of luck and a certain kind of pluck for to dig around the muck just to get a gooey duck, 'cause he hasn't got a front and he hasn't got a back. He doesn't know Donald and he doesn't go quack. Dig a duck, dig a duck, dig a gooey duck, dig a duck, dig a gooey duck, dig a duck a day. Dig a duck, dig a duck, dig a gooey duck, dig a duck, dig a gooey duck, dig a duck a day. You can hear the digger say, as I heading for the bay, oh, I gotta dig a duck a day, 'cause I get a buck a duck if I dig a duck a day, so I gotta dig a duck, gotta dig a duck a day. Dig a duck, dig a duck, dig a gooey duck, dig a duck, dig a gooey duck, dig a duck a day. Dig a duck, dig a duck, dig a gooey duck, dig a duck, dig a gooey duck, dig a duck a day. Dig a duck, dig a duck, dig a gooey duck, dig a duck, dig a gooey duck, dig a duck a day. Dig a duck, dig a duck, dig a gooey duck, dig a duck.
Goodbye, this is